Hello, hello, hello. It's day 7 of the mountain training. Although, that's yeah, that's not the picture. Okay, okay. Whoops. I had to go check which day it was. I was like, yeah. So it's day 7, and it's DTB over here. I mean, Death to Boredom. Same thing. But let's see. How did today go? It's actually pretty bad, honestly. Cause the thing is, I slept really late last night. Woke up pretty early, like probably 4 or 5 a.m. or something, and then woke up at 9 around. Actually, I probably woke up even earlier than that. I can't really remember. Feel like I woke up at like around 8-ish and just stayed up since then. Yeah, and then like I would explain why I spent the entire day sleeping today. I mean, yesterday, like I did so much writing, like I'm not used to that at all. I didn't think that that would get me so fatigued. Uh, but at the same time, I guess it's also to be expected when you like have so many ideas. You have to write them down, and then like you have to think of how to make it coherent and all that stuff. Like I was just constantly thinking and thinking and thinking that entire day. So yeah, today pretty much ended up being a rest day anyway, for the most part. I still did some writing and like also did a little bit of hair coloring just for fun, really. Just testing for fun. Uh and definitely plan to improve that haircut because that first iteration was just a rough idea, not like the it wasn't the final. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I made that note. Remember, this is a rough in the beginning, but yeah. So, the way that I made this was just that I used what do you call it? The dense watercolor brush. And I just did like a few strokes here and there, like just follow along, and then began to like see something, and I worked with it basically. And I'm just it's gonna be pretty sad that the rest of the picture won't be able to follow suit because this kind of watercoloring style I am not used to at all. Um, and I certainly don't really like do it for skin, eyes, and also this kind of watercoloring style doesn't usually work with just like straight up lines. Uh, at least traditionally it does not anyway. But I mean, you know, anything can work if you try to make it work, yeah? Anything can work. Yep. Okay. But honestly, I wanted to also talk about something that I've been meaning to talk about. Um, since I didn't really do too much today, gives me some time to talk about it. Let's see. Yes, I want to talk about my inspirations and how people who are successful are always the hard workers, and they're very open-minded, and they're very flexible, and they work hard to like give the best results that they can, I guess. Um, and it helps keep their creativity alive as well. To like keep working, keep pushing, and like sure one can complain, but like you still go with it and you still like work with it even if you don't like it. Um, One example is Masahiro Sakurai, who is the creator of Super Smash Brothers and Kirby. Those are his most notable works. And then I believe the Kid Icarus was also his work. At the very least, he definitely made the later games. I don't know about the first one. Probably, probably the first one too. Honestly, like why not the first one is the real question. In any case, though, yeah. So like if you play any of his games, you find that his are very unique in comparison to other games. Uh, like, oh, sorry, even the UI and whatnot are also pretty different from other games, and like the game system, like the mechanics and like how the game's system works. Like like in all of his games, you'll have like power ups and difficulty levels that are like what's it called, dependent on a bar. So in Super Smash Brothers and Kid Icarus, uh, there'd be like this bar, and it goes from 1 to 10, with 10 being the hardest and 1 being the easiest. And then like uh, as you lose, it makes the difficulty lower. That can be a problem to some that want to just stay on the highest difficulty, but it does like kind of just force people to play in a more laid back style, um, so that they don't have to like stress themselves out trying to uh, beat the challenge and on a mm, difficulty that would make them really stressed out anyway. But yeah, that's like one example anyway. And then it's like just Kirby himself is a very creative uh, game. I mean, you can say that about any Nintendo game like Yoshi and Mario and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, like he does have unique, uh, he does give a unique experience with his games. Oh, but especially Kirby Air Ride, I love that one. That one was crazy, crazy fun. In any case, though, uh, but yeah, like he has a YouTube channel basically, and he goes through what his life was like working as a game developer and his advice to other game developers. And yeah, I mean, like he'll tell you about how the first Kirby game he made, uh, the system that he had to work with, he had to uh, you don't get a mouse, you don't get a keyboard, you don't get anything like that. All you got is like this knob, and you have to turn it, uh, like what is it called? Well, anyway, you get a knob and you have to turn it to get the parameters that you want. And because you have to manually turn, you have to manually go up and down the numbers. So you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 kind of thing. So you have to manually kind of do it like that, and he had to do that for like everything, to for like all the parameters and whatnot. And that's just an example of how much of an inconvenience it was to make that first Kirby game. Another one was that the way that he had to make the enemies. Well, just the entire game itself really is that the because the memory was so small, he really had to push how to go about making the game as efficient as possible um to like fit in the memory. Uh so one good example today would be 3D modeling. And and for 3D modeling, okay, you don't like make the entire body like uh how do I say? Like you don't make the entire body like a sculpture, you know, like a sculpture or a figurine, you know, it has an inside but basically it's left empty inside. You only have a surface basically. Um because by only having a surface, you save a lot of space uh for rendering and memory. Um, and so it's just all around much more efficient to not have any kind of volume. Yeah, that was the word that I was looking for. There's no volume to the models. It's all just kind of, well, I would say exoskeleton basically. So like a bug's exoskeleton, and you take out the entire inside, and you can't like if you take out the entire inside of a bug, all you see is their exoskeleton, but that's all you need to see really. Like you can take it all out, and you wouldn't even know the difference, you know, kind of thing. Like you take out all of that inside meat, and you would not be able to tell the difference from because all you see is the surface, and the exoskeleton, you know, is the entire surface. Was I can't believe I just compared 3D modeling to a bug. That's funny, but that's truly how it is, though. But in any case, though, so it was like that for creating the first Kirby game. In that, so what he would have to do is he just gets so all the characters are just lines or pixels of lines. So they're in black and white for one thing, okay? So the black would be the lines of the character to make the character, but also he only made half the character, okay? You can I'll link the video in the description. But he only made half the character, and then he just flipped it over so that it would like it would just mirror itself basically. So that would save a lot of space. And by mirroring it, he also made the mirroring animations as well. Um, and like, yeah, I'll just link the video. He'll explain it a lot better than I could ever. Like, I'm spending so much time explaining while he could explain it all in like 3 minutes. But that was I mean, that was a good comparison I made though. 3D modeling and an exoskeleton of a bug. But in any case, though, and then there's Hololive and Yago, Tanigo, Motoaki. Yeah, so they're very hard workers, and they follow you know, some rules and restrictions to keep themselves family friendly and still be entertaining, and they all like they're all they all like push each other forward because they all inspire each other, and they all like, you know, they just that's the thing that Hololive has that other VTuber agencies don't really have, like by essence anyway. It's like like Niji Sanji, you might find some inspirations here and there, but as a whole, they're all mostly very casual. Like it's really the individual if they are inspiring. It's it's only that the individual in themselves were the inspiring one and not pushed by any envelope or anything, you know? While the whole life VTubers, they push themselves and they they become inspiring as a result of that. Uh, but I think it's mostly like just the air, the atmosphere that they give off, you know? Like they're very just wholesome and hardworking and and they show I like the development as well. It's development giving character. That's one example that comes to mind is Okami Mio. So there's a clip that you can find where she was really miffed about how she felt like she had no uniqueness to her. Like she was just she felt boring. She felt like she was very boring. And I believe that's the case because of comments that she's seen ego searching, which is because like the thing is that good people they don't usually uh care about that kind of thing. Like they don't usually compare themselves to others unless someone, tells them. It's like, this it's basically self-awareness, you know? Uh they don't become self-aware about that kind of thing unless someone makes them self-aware. But that's like the same all around. Like it doesn't have to be just them, right? It's like I had to be made self-aware of some things as well by other people through their criticism, um, and not very nice criticism. Let's just say that. But yeah. So it does make me very conscious. Back then anyway. Back then it made me very conscious, and so the same happens to Okami Mio, and she had trouble finding herself, I guess, in a way, like how as an entertainer, really. Like as long as she's in the entertainment business, she doesn't want to be lacking behind the others. And so she eventually came to the conclusion that she just has to work harder to to be more creative and just her plan was to bring everybody together. So like what the feedback that people gave her was that she's like okay, I believe that the comparison was that she was like porridge, and porridge is like something that you have when you just want to feel warm and you want to feel cozy. But at the same time, porridge is like kind of boring, right? It's like it's just watery rice or whatever. And so you would need other things to go along with it. That's the key takeaway from it. So you have other things to go along with it, and basically it's a set. You have this, you have that, you have pickled vegetable, uh you have just some fish or some salty fish or something like that. You just have something to give it that flavor, but it's like salty fish alone, right? You can't just have that alone. It's like it'll be too much flavor, so you have to having the porridge to like uh to um calm down the flavor, for lack of a better term, excuse me, um is how it makes the food better, tastes better, because it's just an experience that balances out. Yeah, yeah, it's basically balancing each other out. So she would collaborate with the other Hololive VTubers, and and she had fun ideas to like play to make like some kind of games with them, you know, like playing a wolf game or doing some fortune telling or doing some kind of therapy or advice stream with like having three people to like give advice to each VTuber that joins the collab one at a time, kind of thing. It's like it's just you know like fun ideas that the other VTubers, they wouldn't really do that kind of thing. I don't see it from them, honestly. The other ones, they just do their thing and people are really happy about that. But Mio, she had to, you know, have these ideas, and these things happened because she was really miffed about being the boring one out of out of the group, even just like her own group. Um, and in a way, like that also reminds me of Takanashi Kiara. Like out of the Hololive myth, she's kind of uh I mean, I don't want to be mean about her, okay? Just know that she has to work harder uh to like for her own audience, I guess. Um but I believe the reason for that is because she likes playing RPGs, and the RPGs are kind of holding her back in a way, because the thing is that her personality does not fit with the RPGs, in that it's not fun for the audience, I guess, because like there are people that want her to concentrate on the RPG, while there are those that don't care about the RPG. So that's why it just does not mix. And so she ends up with a lot less viewers than the other Whole Life Myth streamers. And so it ends up that she also had to be a lot more creative. And she made like the whole life talk shows, and she would like do collaborations. Uh yeah, so you know, like these people, they had to find more creative ways to keep themselves up. But you know, it gives variety to watching Hololive. You don't get that kind of variety from the other ones. You're not gonna get a talk show out of Gura, or well, I don't know about actually Callie, like she has her own chat cast. And then Amelia is just, well, Amelia, like she just does whatever, and like everything she makes is all like she's like inherently creative. But in any case, I'm like going, I'm like going all over the place. But yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is that these people, you know, there are a lot of ways to keep up creativity, and there are a lot of ways to like, in a lot of people that work hard for different reasons. Yeah, like the more pure ones, like Masahiro Sakurai, and even Yago, like they are just, or no, I don't know about using Yago because I didn't like explain him, but I can use Amelia. No, not Amelia. Sorry. I mean, like no offense to Amelia though, but like I mean Amelia, sure. Well, like it works out, but you know, it's just that by comparison, I mean even to Coco, Kiryu Coco, she's not as good as Coco anyway. Because I believe, okay, I can still use Amelia in a way that, because she has a more laid back lifestyle. Uh, she she wasn't like forced to work all the time or whatever, so she doesn't have the habits that would make her so much more up there like Sakurai. In that it's like, if she was forced to work hard like Sakurai, because the thing is that for Sakurai, it's a job, so he was forced to work a lot more, okay, and then he also had to work with a lot of inconveniences, yeah, like he was very limited in what he could do. There's that as well. Limitation has like just forces being creative in other aspects. But for Amelia, she has so much free reign that she kind of doesn't really know what to do with it all in a way. So she just explores. And then at the same time, though, by having so much freedom, she can, be more laid back, and so she'll be lazy at times. But if she had a worker lifestyle like Sakurai, then she would probably have like gone a lot higher in like terms of success. Um, or maybe not. I don't know. Like it really depends, because like the thing is that it, the term of success I'm using is that of like notoriety and like money, that kind of thing. So like famous and the amount of money that she makes. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, being a hololiver is a lot less work for a lot more money, because, I mean, just using Kiryu Koko and Yago as examples, Kiryu Koko made a lot more money than Yago, who is the CEO of Hololive. Just think about it from that aspect. So, and like people who work for companies usually will make a lot less than those in the entertainment industry, I guess. Like, for example, in the music, or like just in terms of America, like Los Angeles, I mean, Hollywood. Actors, they make a lot of money. And then like football players, or like sports in general, like all these people are entertainers, basketball or whatnot. Like, and then they make so much money because like people want them, and so like the more that people demand them, the more money they make. That's how they work. But for people like Sakurai, it's a salary job. It's you don't get paid more for any reason. You just get paid what you get paid, and you just do the work that you do. And you have a time limit on making the game as well. So it's like, and then like other restrictions. So uh, but yeah, yeah. So whatever your term of success is, or sorry, my term of success. So I mean, if she had taken the same route as Sakurai in that right, then she would be less successful in quotes. I say in quotes because like she would definitely make a lot less money, and she would not have that kind of notoriety as she would as a live streamer. Um, but in the other term of success, like she could have made some really great games, and she could have a really successful company. Like she would make a lot of stuff or whatever, and she could like have like a salvation zoo, or animal saving what is it called? Well, you know what I mean, like those things. God, I suck at this. But yeah, I mean, she really loves animals and she wants to save animals. So, you know, who knows what she could have done uh with her life if she had a lot more hard work habits. Um but I mean, she could still start now. That's the thing. Like she could still go start building up a much more hardworking habit. Although you have to like find that way of life to force it out of yourself or whatever. I guess. I mean, Hololive in itself probably already demands some things out of her, but at the same time, she's so established now that she doesn't have to do that much anymore. But I'm sure that she obviously does a lot off stream. But at the same time, I do believe that she does have a lot of lazy moments, a lot of lazy days because again, uh, she's there's only so much you can do by yourself. Let's just go with that. Like um, nobody is just hard work, gotta do this, gotta do that. No, they have to find it fun. Okay, it's like a scientist that's a genius. If you're a genius scientist, then you will always be like working. Like you would not have much sleep because you are so interested in all of these things that you find and experiment with and like taking all these notes and all these things you gotta do to like keep up the momentum. It's keeping up the momentum and just they just overall love what they do even and would go through the hardships for what they do, kind of thing. And like they do it and it becomes such a habit to work this much that they just can't stop. um the same talking about that reminded me of artists. There are artists that definitely have to go through all this, like all those successful artists that have like such beautiful artworks online. uh they all had to have that kind of lifestyle. They all had to force themselves to work really hard because they don't make much money. So they have this mindset that they have to keep grinding because like the ceiling is so high for the skill level for successful artworks to see such beautiful results. Like they are the most perfect example of people that were forced to work hard uh, on their own, like individually. Like nobody forced them but themselves, because of that lifestyle that they're forced to have. And then there's also animators who are also artists, by the way. Okay. Like animators, they also had to go through that grind because they had to make every single frame. They had to draw every single frame individually, hand drawn, manually. And, watching any anime, if you just look at it frame by frame, and just imagine, wow, they had to make all of these. They had to draw all of these individually, and who knows how much time it took them. But they had to get really good at it, so it's probably like 5 to 10 minutes each frame, for a character. And that's not including background, and that's not including coloring, and that's not including the effects that they have to put afterwards. But that's all. That's all the other departments anyway. There's a coloring department. There's an effects department, and there's a sound department. So there's sound. So it's just all company stuff though. But that's all their own thing. We're just talking about the animator themselves though. For this case. But I mean, everybody in this kind of industry has to like keep up a grind. And there's probably a lot more out there as well as like 3D modelers, live 2D riggers, riggers in general, probably. Like there's always constant work. Um, and these are people that have to work for a company, I guess. But like 3D models, there are individual 3D modelers, and they like they have to go through that grind, you know. So just creative people in general, really, that are freelancing, like any kind of freelance creative work, they all have to go through that grind, you know. Oh, indie game developers, like that's a very good example right there. I mean, it's not just Sakurai, it's not just company game developers. It's also just indie is game developing in general. But in any case, yeah, so I am like I've gone so long. Wow. Okay, but yeah, so that's all that. Uh but yeah, I mean, this has nothing to do with the mountain training, but I'm just talking about these people because in the end, everybody has to have their own reasons to be doing these kinds of things. And for me, my reasons uh, have to do with um, the way that I see life, right? And like I see these people as my inspirations. And if I have these people as my inspirations, you know, it's a reminder of the kind of person that I want to be. And by doing mountain training, I'm, you know, I'm working towards it. I'm trying to self-discipline, and all these people that I'm talking about, they all had to have discipline, self-discipline, or otherwise, you know, they had to be disciplined anyway. That's the point. It's like you have to work with your limitations. You have to work all the time. You have to work very hard. It's blood, sweat, and tears, and you have to put in the grind. You have to give up time that you would otherwise have, basically, that you would use for luxury and convenience and just lazy days or whatever, to get what you want, if you're in the creative field. So that's all I'm getting at, really. Uh, and so, yeah, this is one step forward. This mountain training.